Division 1 reserves coming up, Old Ignatians and St. Peter's. Let's have a quick look through previous Div 1 reserves grand finals. Goodwood Saints have been here a few times, 3 premiers in the last 5 years and a runners-up, and the Henley Sharks, of course, in Div 2 now. But for St. Peter's, they've been here twice in the last 3 years, come up short. Maybe this is their time to finally secure that flag.
Well, sometimes they say third time's the charm, so that's what they'd be keeping their fingers crossed for. But you look at those grand final losses, and they're to the Henley Sharks and Goodwood Saints, who've been prominent in those reserves grand finals as well. So their competition's been decently tough, and Old Iggy's is the new kid on the block. They just came up into the Div 1 reserves.
Right. They had no option. They couldn't play in Div 1, so they couldn't be in the Div 1 reserves. A couple of things to note. The last 4 have been close, 11 points the largest margin, and they've been low scoring as well. Basically 9 goals will win you the grand final every time. So that's the run up to this year. Let's have a look at the ladder of how the Buddy Bet Division 1 reserves. And fair to say, Indy, we've got the 2 best teams fighting it out this afternoon.
Yes, very comfortably the best 2 teams as well. You consider how well Goodwood and Port District have been playing in the A grade throughout the year. It was impressive to see that their reserves held those standards. But Old Iggy's and St. Peter's are some different beasts. They lead the competition, and only 0.6% separated the 2 teams. Mind you, it's probably more interesting to also keep in mind the actual result that we saw a couple of weeks ago when these 2 teams did end up meeting up, Phil.
Indeed. So let's have a look at how the finals played out from that ladder. Elimination final eliminated Brighton, St. Peter's and Port District, 9 points to the Saints. And then that second semi-final was pretty comprehensive. Accuracy pretty important, but that should give Old Ignatians a great deal of confidence coming into today's encounter.
Yeah, very intriguing as well, that 38-point loss. It did come as a result of only being able to kick 4 goals 9, so quite a low-scoring affair on St. Peter's part, and Old Iggy's was still able to score quite comfortably. I reckon today, based on the conditions of both that last match and the wet weather that just came pouring down for the C1 ceremonies, it's going to be quite a testament to both teams' ability to score high. I definitely wouldn't be expecting 200-plus points combined between the 2 teams today.
No, it's not something you see most grand finals, and the conditions and the size of the ground probably not allowing for it. So the Prince's fans have got 1 premiership to favour. They'll probably head down the parade for a bite of lunch, maybe, coming back. I think you can get pass outs, come back for the main game. Goodwood Saints, their season is done, and even though they fell a game short in the A's, have at least got another trophy to add to their even though the season fell short, they did get at least 1 team into the grand final. We're probably 8 minutes away from the start of this game. We probably should thank sponsors that help bring the coverage to you, because they are numerous, Indy. They've been with us all season, and they deserve some recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we thank these streams for being possible thanks to Dartfish, Filming Footy and Sports Interactive, but we also thank our additional sponsors for today, the Banner Crew, Simon Black, Archie's Footwear, Mosley Bar and Grill, and our scoreboard sponsor for this year, Sportle.
Sportle, also a few there. The Connell Meat Central Market, Roller Dice Racing, Archie's, we've enjoyed them with the footwear, Powerade, Dartfish. My favourite, CMAX Clinical Research, for sponsoring the weekly wrap. As the rain has subsided, you can see the captains in uniforms there. It's Ed Loken for St. Peter's, their captain. And we're going to go again. It got stuck in the mud. Adam Valhana, has won the toss, and not surprisingly gone to the parade end here. The breeze, you mentioned it before, Indy, it's strong. The windsock is pretty much perpendicular, but it's blowing out. If it does blow to one end from time to time, it is to the southern end, but I think it's going to be more a sideways thing to deal with today.
Yeah, I don't think one particular inside 50 arc will be favoured over the other. Mind you, after commentating that C-grade game, a big portion of the first half took place within the right side of screen arc, and it seemed like that was where most of the scoring was occurring from. In fact, Prince Alfred's Premiership quarter in the third was determined at that end of the ground, and that was after playing most of the territory at that end as well. It was only really the fourth quarter where it opened up a little bit more. So
yeah, I missed most. I had planned to be here for the third quarter, but found myself getting to know every single back street and alleyway in the postcode, trying to find that ever elusive car park, which hopefully won't get a council sticker when I return. I was just that little bit over the line. Hopefully, Norwood will be looking this afternoon. So who do you have as the teams line up for the presentations? What's your old Iggies, or is it time for the Saints? And I guess the end of the Jeff Riddle era to a point, because the B's and A's always associate pretty closely one senior squad. Will that era finish with a flag for St. Peter's?
Well, it's a difficult one to determine. Old Iggy's the new kid on the block, has had so much excitement around them as the two teams get their photos taken respectively. But I think St. Peter's, look, their third grand final in the reserves in the span of 4 years. You probably have to say that this time, with the experience of being there, the pressure of being there, they could be an upset result today. So I'm actually going to back St. Peter's for this one.
Yeah, it's a big one for Iggy's because, of course, this year was their first year in Division 1, and we obviously looked at that from the A-grade level, and we were there streaming when they won their first game at home at Carrick-Rolton. But this would be, albeit the reserves, if they can get up, their first premiership at the top tier level, which would be excellent for them. So fair bit at stake. It's a grand final. You don't really need anything else at stake when you're playing a grand final.
To the Buddy Bet Division 1 reserves grand final between Old Ignatians and St. Peter's Old Collegians here this afternoon at Norwood Oval. The Adelaide Footy League would like to thank its partners for their support during the 2022 season. Channel 9, West End, Sharon, Police Credit Union, Buddy Bet, Sip and Save, CMAX Clinical Research, O'Neill Sportswear and Breakthrough Mental Health. The Adelaide Footy League, strengthening communities through footy. Would you please join with the players, coaches and umpires as we stand for an acknowledgement of country, followed by the Australian National Anthem.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of the country across Australia on which we play our great game and pay our respects to them, their culture and elders past and present.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea, our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage of birds Australia fair. Here's joyful strains and let us sing of birds Australia
Always a stellar moment on any grand final day. The anthem, the crowd, of which there are a few, and they're in voice, and they're under shelter too, I might add. That is the one good thing about Norwood, is once you find a car park and you get in, there is plenty of undercover spectating to be had. Very important on a day like today. Of course, this is the Buddy Bet Division 1 reserves. You're with Phil Hurton and Indy Rogers. And Indy, for those that have just joined us, can you give us a very quick summary of what has gone before us this morning with the C1s?
Yes, you're tuning into Grand Final action, Adelaide Footy League Buddy Bet Division 1 Grand Final day. The C1 game has just been completed and it was 19 points to 35 Prince Alfred's way. 2 goals 7 to 5 goals 5. Prince Alfred turned it on in the third quarter to get their first win against Goodwood for the year and the one that mattered the most. They lost to them by 3 points a couple weeks ago in the semi, so managed to get back at them in this instance. And Prince Alfred will be seen again today later on for more Adelaide Footy League Buddy Bet Grand Final action when they come up against Port District in the A grade. But in the meantime, we've got a game on our hands, Phil.
We do indeed. We are set to rock and roll. The second of 3 grand finals. Old Ignatians in the blue heading towards the right of your screen. St. Peter's mainly in the white heading to the left. To get us underway, this grand final, you're with Indy Rogers.
2 rucks already eyeing off each other before the ball's even thrown up. Now eyes peeled to the share in. No decisive winner in that particular contest, but plenty of tackling pressure to come as a result of it. Players pile on, and it's not too muddy in that centre circle, but you could definitely assume that it could build if wet weather continues to strike the ground this afternoon. It was very present during the C1 ceremonies post-game. More tackling pressure coming here. Neither team able to get this one out. This game will potentially be a grind similar to the C1 Grand Final. But St. Peter's trying to come in over the top. In fact, losing balance there in the contest was Sam Potter. Spills out outside of the centre circle. All the way to the far side. A whistle comes in. It looks like that was for high contact according to the umpire's signalling. So this is Sam Stott, who kicks towards the middle and finds a target. They exchange sides, go to the near wing. Now picking up the ball here is Hazeman, who hands off. Kicks down the line, and a very good mark in the one-on-one contest there. Had to keep his ground, Proudman, but proudly did so. Now hits the one-on-one again. No decisive victor out of that contest, but Old Iggy's a push in the back will go against them. So now Scott Biddle to take a shot at goal if he elects the 30, which it looks like he will.
So, yeah, they're pretty adamant pushing the back there. Everyone appealed Biddle. Who knows where the goals are? He's kicked 22 this season from his 16 Buddy Bet Division 1 reserves games.
So Biddle steps in, right on line, and it'll stay there. It will also just make the journey to kick us off for the Div 1 Reserves Grand Final, but the umpires are indecisive. They will verify it as a goal, though. First major, straight to the board.
Yeah, the goal umpire was pretty adamant it was a goal as we have a look at the Summer Black Academy, the Sportal replay coming up here. But we did have, you see the boundary umpire by the fence there, by the behind post, was able to provide a little bit of a confirming viewpoint on it, which is good to see. So first goal within the first 2 minutes. We know goals are, especially early goals, very precious in a grand final, set the momentum. Tends to be a game where comebacks not seen as much as you would say in a normal contest. Good bounce of the ball for the Saints. Kirchner got the hand pass away. They'll get the clearance. That's 2 for 2 for the Spock at the moment. In the direction of Jake Stafford. Old Iggies have it now momentarily. Thump forward in the direction of Ben McGill in hot pursuit. Ensuring it goes out of bounds was Elliot Mitchell. Right in front of the big Coopers Stadium sign there, which basically is a wall of the Norwood Primary School.
Down at that end, ball thrown into play. It's a high one. Getting the tap there looked to be Sam Potter doing some ruck work. He can stand tall, that's for sure. St. Peter's will clear the contest here. Will go forward, one-on-one. Michael's had his ball spoilt, but the Crummers continue to pile in. Old Iggy's just unable to apply the immediate pressure, but a snap around the body isn't the most reliable entry, so they're doing their job out there. Oh, a bit of a sling tackle motion's going to have to go against Thomas Ryan. You can't afford to do that, particularly in a game like this. A bit of push and shove after.
Sometimes grand final nerves do weird things, Indy, and at the moment I'd suggest that Old Ignatians are a little bit too hyped up defensively and a little bit ill-disciplined. This is the second free given away, the second shot on goal.
Nick Michaels, very similar angle to where the last goal was kicked. This one stays offline. It'll miss to the far side for a minor score.
I'm not sure if you're going to aim to the right, you're going to have too many come back with that breeze today. I'd be aiming left all the time. No one on the mark, so Dan Tokia gets the kick out to a large pack of players, 55 out from the Saints goal. It has not gone inside 50 for Old Ignatians as yet. Going to be about the fourth inside 50 for Saints. 2-2 contest towards the square, and again player flattened, and this will be Nick Michaels again. He's had the shot going one way, now we'll get it going the other way. This will be a lot closer and very, very gettable.
It's probably aim for the little post, Phil, on the left.
I don't know, probably for where those supporters are, right there behind the goals, encouraging support. And, he's hit the post. Planned it almost perfectly. So, Nick Michaels is 2 behinds. Scott Biddle has scored a goal. Saints are 1-2-8. Iggy's are yet to score.
Yeah, the kicking comes. The pack is hit. No decisive winner to come out of it. Spills back into the forward arc. Neither team's able to get out of the trouble here. The umpire will separate them. 1-8 to no score for Old Ignatians early in this quarter. 5.5 minutes gone already. Players going down for the crumb. Attempt at a kick was unsuccessful there. But now Soccer's across the ground, comes out the other way. St. Peter's have a setup though, and they have a plan. Gibson wants to execute that. He gets it off to a teammate who kicks it back into the arc. Pack went up, some spoils came in from behind for Old Iggy's, and that was an awkward lingering ball which didn't really come off the boot right, and you could just see it floating awkwardly. It was always going to come out on the full.
Ben McGill, the Saints player, with the missed kickers. Iggy's, they keep going to that pocket, haven't managed to break it open. Now they have. That was a strong run, and now we're into open space on the wing. This is Brandon Lord for Old Ignatians leading the race for the ball, but the boundary line wins in front of a... Well, it's pretty good that they've got the little bar out there in the northwest pocket, and that there's a whole bunch of Old Iggy's fans to make sure it's patronised this afternoon. Because there ain't many people on the outer side. They're all undercover, which is probably a wise thing given the conditions.
Yeah, but absolutely need an umbrella of some kind if you're spectating from the far side and not from the cosy stands where we are. There's a free kick coming here. Looked like it was Old Iggy's possession anyways, but they'll take the free kick to catch an extra breath. Goes to the one-on-one, but it's been thumped out. Spoiled to the right pocket, and that one's going to be misbalanced, and as a result, it's going to be a throw in.
Just letting you know, Howard Kubi was the player there. One thing about Old Ignatians, you may be picking it up at home. Their numbers are just a tad hard to pick up. And just a little request, maybe consider having an even coloured background on the numbers for next year as we continue our broadcast.
Might just have to go with the white square, I reckon. White square, black numbers.
I reckon do the Hawthorn trick where you just have the panel at the back in the one colour. As long as it contrasts with the white, that's fine. Yeah, from 5 metres away it's fine. From a long way away with binoculars doesn't always work a treat, especially when the numbers build up. Soccering off the ground, staying in there, but eventually going out of bounds. So what are we now? 7 minutes in, almost 8. Old Ignatians, that was their first inside 50. Nothing eventful came out of it. St. Peter's with an early lead. Will they rue those 2 missed shots? We'll find out as the game progresses.
Ball to be thrown in. Old Iggy's yet to hit the scoreboard. The territory right now favours their forward half at the very least, but only mildly. It's also worth noting for any of those who joined into the C1, not only did Prince Alfred come out as victors, but also difference in rule set between the 2 games. The C1 had the last touch rule, whereas the reserves and A grade do not.
Good pickup. Thank you for that, Indy, because I had heard that some B levels do, but not the Div 1Bs. Good pickup. And we'll also find out how long the quarters go for a little bit as well. Because we're on a tight schedule today. 3 games and presentations to fit in. And nothing's going to stop them. Rail or hail, as we discovered a little bit earlier with the C1s. I must confess, I had I reckon the Oval's held up pretty well. I mean, there are muddy patches around, but it's hardly an old 1980s, bog.
Yeah.
Lots of green grass.
It's not a pig paddock, that's for sure. You won't find any pigs swimming in the cricket pitch.
That's what I was thinking of.
Cleared out here. First to it. Managed to do a very clever tap on. That'll be rewarded. Keeping possession. Gibson. His kick wasn't so good, though. Didn't pay off after that very clever tap. The ball stays alive momentarily. It might need to be rushed to the line here, but it seems like Biddle wants to keep it alive. And St. Peter's want to keep it alive. That mark wasn't paid, so it's going to have to be snapped off quickly by Fahy, and it comes out to the other side. Very close call there. St. Peter's did the right thing by trying to keep it alive, but no victors in that particular contest.
So it's going to be a throw-in right next to the ever-growing St. Peter's fans behind the goals. Umpires found a free. This one will go the way of Old Ignatians. That kick left a little bit to be desired. It's put Davies in all sorts of bother. Thankfully, had a couple of teammates to help. Through some hands and out of bounds.
I reckon just probably made the easy look difficult there. Old Iggy's trying to get it out. Couple close calls, to be completely fair.
Okay. So you can build the frustration like a soccer game. St. Peter's with the smother. Old Iggy struggling to clear it out. And umpire's circling but says my ball. And we've got 11 minutes. St. Peter's have certainly won the battle of territory and certainly have the scoreboard battle at the moment.
Old Iggy's winning the tap out there, but St. Peter's first to crumb it. Snap around the body, clearance, rolls down towards the left forward pocket. Old Iggy's trying to rush it out, but they probably should have seen it over the line because the attempt to keep it alive wasn't particularly pretty. It's going to be a score, set shot score potentially here for what looks like...
we have a phantom.
Yes, we do have a phantom.
We do have a phantom. You go down and check your lineups, and then they throw in a number. So obviously don't know who number 9 is. I'll just check if he's in the budget.
Nevertheless, the mystery man who goes unnamed here doesn't hit the scoreboard with that kick, but another whistle comes in, and it's going to go against St. Peter's. Old Iggy's will take possession back.
Nothing in the budget. I reckon it might have been a possible jersey swap.
Maybe they got the 6 upside down, who knows?
Yeah, mate. Well, the other thing is that St. Peter's are wearing their away strip, so they may not have the exact same set of numbers as they do for the home attire. That's happened from time to time. Certainly happens when you have commemorative jumpers. You don't know who's going to be playing 2 months out when you order them, so lots of numbers tend to change. But Saints go forward again. McGill looking for the target in Nick Michaels, who's been pretty busy. Old Ignatians are keeping the tackling a little bit more respectable now, and it will be a ball up.
Throw in about 25 out directly in front. They managed to crumb it. St. Peter's first to it. Working in Conjure. Kudra tried to start that handball passage. There's still a little bit of water though. Stafford's kick right on the line kept it alive. Hit the pack, but Old Iggy's might come out with it. No! Didn't get rid of it in time. Fantastic pressure. That's what you need to do to set the statement for a grand final. Will Irwin to be rewarded with the set shot. Distance shouldn't be too much of an issue. From this angle, he shouldn't have to snap either, but a drop punt will require a little bit more sharpness.
Will Irwin's got quite a story. He's had 4 different coaches in 4 different teams this year. His biggest highlight was kicking 12 goals in the C7s versus Adelaide Uni, so he knows where the big white sticks lurk.
Irvin steps on. The fans had absolutely no doubt about that one. As soon as it left the boot, you could hear the reaction. St. Peter's making early statements.
Yeah, just on who. When he started the season, played 3 games in the Great Southern Footy League for the Tigers of Yankalilla. Then 2 games in the C7s, kicked 12 goals in one of them. 5 games in the C1s, and now he's had this is his 14th game and his 13th goal, and a big one. I think now we're looking at a scoreboard, Indy, where you're seeing reward for effort. So Peters have dominated. Now in grand final terms, they have a bit of a cushion on the board.
Back to the centre here. Bit of a immature tackle. I thought that was going to be in the back for Old Iggy's, but it's actually against. So they'll come out of the middle. They advance slowly, clear it out. Came off of the boot of Stafford, goes longer, hits a target up forward, swings around the body to try and centre it, but it hangs out in the air too long. You don't want that type of kick in wet conditions. Mind you, the rain has died off a little bit in recent minutes. Old Iggy's linger around, but no clear ball winner to come out of this passage of play. In fact, a sling tackle call comes in, so this looks like another set shot coming up for St. Peter's, and it will be.
This will be the 4th set shot on goal in this quarter from a free kick given away by the opposition. 3 of them for poor tackling in the back, and 1 of them caught holding the ball.
Bit of a change of pace from the last game that I commentated with Ned Maguire earlier. The C1 Grand Final. This is the Reserves Grand Final. Will Irwin about to take the 4th set shot for St. Peter's and hopefully get their 3rd goal. Currently sit at 2 goals 2. Old Iggy's haven't done any damage at the other end. A lot of the action happening on the left side of screen right now. The fan reaction tells the story as it did last time.
Hey, I like that group behind the goals. They can tell us what's happening before we work it out. And they've got the chance going for Wilbur, I think it is. Okay, Will Irwin. He's got 2 in the space of 4 minutes. And right now, Old Iggy's are thinking, now we won the toss and we elected to kick the other way. We've done the right thing here. But if you don't win the clearances, probably doesn't matter which way you kick it. Back in the middle. It has cleared up, though, rain at the moment. And the hills are back within a panoramic view behind the ground. Ooh, one of the players there went backwards in McCarthy, and Old Iggy's will get the clearance. A rare for a forward. Will it last long though? Spildo's out of bounds in front of probably the largest group of supporters here along the wing down the parade end. Just one of the great viewing spots to watch football in Adelaide, along with the Phil Big Footy coverage. Throw in. Alec Kudra tried to escape. Umpire says no opportunity, and he'll ball it back up.
Ball up just borderline centre square to near wing. St. Peter's the ones to clear it out. They've been winning most of the clearances in this game. It could spell alarm for Old Iggy's. The coach will certainly leave that stat at quarter time. Coming out here with a lot of dash was Michaels. Got it off in time, went forward, but Old Iggy's save up with a spoil. Just trying to make sure they don't concede anything at this end of the ground right now, because they've barely gotten it into their forward 50 arc in this game so far.
It's lasted there just a couple of minutes, which is good. It's down our end of the ground. It's great for us.
Complete opposite to the C1 Grand Final 2, where it resided in the right end of screen for the entirety of the first quarter.
Yep. And a turnover, kick out of bounds. Chance for William Proudman, back right up against the brick wall here. Who's taking the lead? Overcooked it. Ball spills free to Michaels, who's been busy. Plenty of pushing and shoving. Umpire comes in and says, I'll take the ball, I'll ball it up. A 4th goal here, and I was saying Saints could put the game away, but gee, they'd make it rough. 18.5 minutes to go. So quarter time not too far away. And probably, Indy, it's fair to say that Old Iggy's, whilst they'd love a goal, their first priority is they've just got to hang on here.
22 minutes no time on, the length of the C1 Grand Final quarters. We believe it's the same here.
Okay.
Old Iggy's hand pass out, trying to go far. Goes to the far wing. It stretches the players, leads to a one-on-one running contest, which ends with no victor. Neither could beat the ball to the boundary line. We tip 90 minutes, 10 seconds gone. The game all of a sudden coming to an alarming state for Old Iggy's. They certainly don't want it to blow out any more than it already has. It's a bad tone to start the game with, the ladder leaders. 38-point victors against the same team only a couple of weeks ago.
Incredible, isn't it? So what's that? That's, 38 points now, 20, like it's a 10-goal turnaround in the space of a quarter. Yeah. Well, this is why they play the game. Jake Stafford, first there for St. Peter's, leaves the ball behind. Umpire says throw it in. 2:30 is the first bounce of the big game. Buddy Bet Division 1 Grand Final, Port Districts, Prince Alfred Old Collegiates. Half time of this game, we're going to have Craig Lambert interviewing both the coaches. And we do thank them for giving of their time on a pretty big, stressful day. Three-quarter time we'll set up some of the historical stuff with both clubs and how they got to the Grand Final. That'll free us up for a full preview. Post the B grade presentations. And the aim certainly is that we'll give you as much of this game as we can for those St. Peter's and Old Ignatians fans that are watching. I suspect the St. Peter's fans are growing by the minute.
Coming once again through with the tap. Leading out. Little chip kick there just to try and clear some of the pressure. Tacklers won't reach this ball, but if St. Peter's can calculate this one correctly, they can step in for a check side goal. No! It hits the far small post, meaning that it's out of bounds on the full. Old Iggy's a chance to slingshot. They've got about a minute to go. Fans jeering them from behind. But he's going to kick long. Goes down the line. Huge contested mark coming out of the pack. Fantastic effort being held up on the mark. I believe taking that was Elliot Mitchell. So kicking around again. On the right foot. Well, probably could have been marked there, I reckon, by Cudmore, but he decided to spoil it over with two open palms. And that'll tick off more time as Old Iggy's run out of opportunities to get a score or register one before the end of the first quarter.
Throw in about the ticket to that 22-minute mark. Quick clearance by the Saints, bouncing ball. Footing hard to maintain at the moment. As everyone is slipping and sliding, you can see there the benches here at Norwood, the way it sits there, and there you have it, 22 minutes flat. I would suspect, not sure we have 1 second of time on. And that, if you're St. Peter's, is one way to start a grand final. We're just going to keep on rolling, okay. It is St. Peter's 3. Oh no. Take a break. Yes, okay. And that's good. It's quarter time. We need it. 3-2-20 St. Peter's. Those score Old Ignatians back with the second quarter in just a tick.
Norwood Oval, and we've got the match of the year coming up. It's pre-game. We've got Port Districts playing Prince Alfred in the A1 Grand Final day. Just quarter time in the reserves game. As you can see, it's windy, it's raining, but that's what footy's all about. I'm excited. I know everybody else is excited. The crowd is building up, and it's going to be one hell of a game today. My predictions, I'm not sure at the moment. I will tell you that soon, so hang in there. Stay around and keep watching for one of the best games ever coming up for the A1 Grand Final. Back to you, Phil.
Thanks so much, Lambo. Always excitable is our Craig Lambert. He's quite amazing like that.
Good start.
And he's got a day where boundary riders dread the cold, wet and windy, and he's still got a big smile on his face, so you sort of know it's a grand final. I think the best thing about that quarter for Old Ignatians is that it's over and they get a chance to reset. And it possibly could have been worse with a couple of those missed goals. But 20 points in this kind of conditions, Indy, is a fair margin to track back.
Well, it's possible, and we've seen comebacks of all kinds at major and minor levels this year. But yeah, without a doubt, it's not a great tone to set the game with. It's time to put that first quarter out the head, though, and focus on the remaining 3 terms. As we get underway with the second quarter, rain continuing to come down. The fog that had dissipated from the hills has actually come back, in fact, in the background.
Yeah.
Old Iggy's quick for the tackling pressure. That's probably what they would have talked about with the coach. Just crank the intensity up a bit. Tim Big making sure it doesn't go anywhere. He's going to attend this next ruck stoppage as well. He won't get the tap out. He'll be beaten by Alt Schwager.
Cheerio to Jeff Pistola and the Call of the Wild team filming Footy. The Hills Footy League got their grand final on today. Hope they'll be able to see it.
Absolutely. It'd be very foggy up there. I have to check on them at some point. Meanwhile, ball spills into the same forward 50 up, but this is Old Iggy's now. It stays in the similar end of the ground that it did in the first quarter. Let's see if that trend continues. St. Peter's have a good defensive set up here. Extra numbers around the ball. Yeah. And probably the safest thing they could have done is exactly what happened, and that is rush it over for a behind, a minute gone.
Yeah, it just wouldn't sit. Sometimes the football will do that. They certainly had a good structure to ensure that Old Iggy's weren't going to get to it first. But here's the throw at 40 metres out from the Wolves goal. That's the Old Iggy's nickname. And what are they? Throwing the ball is the call. Will be St. Peter's free. This is Ed Lockett, who finds a player in space. Something that Old Iggy's struggled to do clearing out of defence. St. Peter's were very good at locking it in their half of the field, but now Spock is showing how you slowly and methodically work it up the field, even if it means zigzagging a little bit. This is Tom Facey, who brings it across to Charlie Gibson. We're still at defensive 50. I'm not sure if today is really the day you want to bounce this football. And he was probably lucky to get away with that just being a boundary throw. That had football funnies written all over it.
Yeah, I see a lot of players reluctant to bend over anymore in wet conditions, so they try to show a consistent skill set that they can use anywhere, anytime, but not really sure if that was the right call there, and he probably didn't need to bounce either. He should have scanned out and picked the target, but nevertheless, it's thrown back in, misses both of the rucks, so it's going to come over the top. Old Iggy's quick to apply the tackling. Just on the edge of the centre square here. Bottom left quarter, to be exact, if you're watching from this perspective, same as us. Holding the ball is the call. Old Iggy's with an opportunity here. They weren't actually rewarded much with any free kicks, especially for holding the balls in that first term. So Thomas Ryan kicks further, and he completely turns it over. Sam Langley for St. Peter's takes the intercept.
So Langley again has a player working hard to create the space. That was Brett Russell. So they've had a couple of link people just to clear it out of that. They'll bring it back in board. That one was a little bit riskier, but Ed Lockett stood tall in the contest. Probably had a little bit height advantage over, I think that's Austin Horner, that attacker, whatever you want to call it, from Old Ignatians. So Peters, though, looking very methodical. Try to show their skills in these conditions. Some series of hand passes. Harry Cudmore. Now back to Nick Michaels. We're inside the 50 arc. In front of a gathering. Well, that's where the Saints fans have ended up. Yep. They haven't changed ends, folks. It's not a different set of fans. It's the same ones you saw before. Old Ignatians got themselves in trouble, but did well to get out of it. Back to Ryan. His last kick was a shocker. This time he goes with the hand pass, puts his teammate into a whole world of pain. And it's going to end up being a throw-up. Okay.
Oh, indecisive.
That was a very quick whistle for a throw-up. I thought maybe he gave it free and realised it wasn't there and thought, I'll just throw it up and take my losses.
See if St. Peter's can keep it on this forward half, or if Old Iggy's can finally hit the scoreboard. They've now gone 26 and a half minutes worth of game time. Without doing so, they wouldn't want to go over half an hour without kicking a score of any kind. He went half an hour without a goal in the C1 final. This ball's been smothered, so now he had to come in with the late compensation effort, Tom Dorr, but he's actually given away a free kick because he got his kick smothered and then he got his man high, so a bit of a rushed effort.
Take your pick.
Comes further. That was Kirchner with the kick going forward. Just socket off the deck here from Old Iggy's. A very counterproductive soccer because it barely advanced any ground. It's come back into the arc for St. Peter's, but Old Iggy's have enough numbers to work with, although that type of kick has put his man under a lot of pressure. Jasper Davies wouldn't be too comfortable working around those conditions when you put yourself tight on the line and you got an opponent to fend off to.
He did that well, though. He tunnel balled it firstly and he just kept it out of reach. Did want to send a cheerio to our officials today. The field umpires, Liam Binning and Robert Cade. On the boundary, Eli Courtney and Luke Simpson, and waving the flags, Ethan Scarman and James Turner. Congratulations to them on their grand final appointments.
Free kick coming in here.
Yeah, it looks to be Old Ignatians who will try and work it methodically. That's at least step one. Got into a pretty good spot now where they've got both sides of the ground to work with if they want. This is Nathaniel Swan who picks up a teammate. And I reckon, can't guess at that number. You need to see it for about 2 seconds for the white to just lift itself out from the rest of the colours. But around the body we go. St. Peter's, the big man's got to go down and get it. He says, no, I'll just bump into the player instead. That was actually well done by Lockett. He bumped the player, sockled it onto the mosquito fleet. St. Peter's were about to run away with it with Patrick Fahey. They've still got a decent chance here. Biddle's got it now. Whistle's gone. And in front of the Old Ignatian supporters group, which again I'm sure has grown in recent times.
Ooh,
it's very McGill.
Very sympathetic to the Cooper bar.
Yeah. Oh well. They've got the toilet and they've got all the facilities you could ever want in a football game.
Yeah. And they took the ambition of picking a place on the far side too. In the meantime, St. Peter's have also picked out something really nice, and that is a productive forward target. Just trying to get a look at exactly who's taking the kick here. I think it might be Nick Michaels. He throws the grass up just to get a read of that win. It has died down just a little bit. He'll start his run up from within the arc and kick from, well, just a little closer. And that one's all good to go. 26 points, fourth goal of the game for St. Peter's. We went 7.5 minutes without one, but unsurprisingly, it's the Saints who have hit first.
Well, I'm glad that Michaels has got the goal. He is the leading goal scorer for St. Peter's Old Collegians with 47. Make that now 48. Including, he kicked 6 goals on 3 occasions, 2 versus Rocks, 2 against Payneham Norwood Union this season. And glad to see that because he's been very busy as a forward and part of getting those frees early that really set the tone. So 26-point margin. We're now at the point of Old Iggy's really have to get the next one. I just can't see today being a day of 5-goal comebacks. Even though plenty of time and that windsock just blowing left to right with no great system to it, just very strong across the ground. It's going to be a St. Peter's free, not give it back. It's a, oh jeez. That was interesting because I actually thought the umpire might have signalled the wrong way. But anyway, Stafford has it. Quick kick inside 50. Oh, and it lands. The man in front, Brett Russell. So all their leading goal scorers getting into it. Scott Biddle's kicked 22 for the season. He's third. Nick Michaels, 47. He's kicked 1. And Brett Russell's kicked 30 for the season, including 6 against Glenunga in round 2. Now he gets his shot. Right now it's 4-2-26 to no score. Comes in And that one's going to miss rather badly. So the score at the moment on the Sportal scoreboard, which might need an update, is 4-3-27. Old Ignatians, don't worry. You haven't had to do any work for them so far.
Yeah, well, they'll want to look to do work for themselves right now. This next passage could be very determining. Oh, missed the intended target. In fact, out there running with the ponytail. It was very short, but just wasn't able to get a read of the ball. Spills out to the far wing. Players looking at the umpires, and the umpire delaying the whistle, but he's reluctant to pay anything favouring one team or the other. He's happy with the ball up as it is. 10 1/4 minutes gone. Tap out from Old Iggy's. They haven't been getting many clearances. Surely that be an area for improvement for the coaches to take note of. On this occasion, players bumped out of the way. Bit of collision. Oh, and a clever hand-on, which will lead to come out of the other end, but just another minor score. Alec Kudra missing a pretty golden opportunity there.
And our Phantom number 9 setting up the assist there. So Spock have had a couple of chances to put this game beyond all doubt. It is 28-0. We do apologise for our score bug just at the moment. We just need to give it a kick and reset it. But yeah, a couple of chances I reckon to put this beyond doubt. Couldn't do it. But it's still at Spock's end. Although nice heavy tackle. One of their better ones. The Old Iggy's fans in the background, incredulous that wasn't holding the ball. They just want something to go right, because not much has so far. Great pickup by Stafford to keep that alive. Through some hands. They get it on. The shot on goal is going to bounce through by Will Irwin, who's got 3 for the day. Oh, hang on. Hold the phone. Old Iggy's are saying it touched. Goal umpire said, no, did it. That's a goal.
Second time that's happened this game.
Will Irwin has 3. You could probably give about 3 others that had an assist in that.
So the scoreboard in actuality right now would read 5 goals for 34 to no score for Old Iggy's.
Yeah. And St. Peter's have shown it's just as easy to score down the parade end as it is to score down the northern end, so the Beulah Road end.
So
basically it's easy to score whatever end they're kicking to.
Yeah, 34-0. Old Iggy's. You'd think that they'd be desperate to change that, but losing the next centre clearance shows that they might not have the intent. Can they rebound here? Oh, massive collision off the ball. The umpire hasn't thought anything of it. Old Iggy's player is very slow to get up. A whistle comes in. They will retain possession.
Tom Washer got cleaned up. He's up though, thankfully.
Tom Dorr goes further, doesn't hit a target. St. Peter's trying to use some hand pass ability to get out of trouble, but they might be caught with hands in the cookie jar here. And a bit of push and shove just to go along with it. They don't want to concede anything extra. Umpire just trying to settle the situation, but there's quite a bit of beef in it. No 50-metre penalty and no reversal. It'll be the same kick as initially planned, but it's gone to a 3-on-1. Probably not the best option for the forwards. Here's a dribble goal coming right up. Beautiful outside action from Danny Ochia. Peter Daniocha. Dan Tiocha.
Dan Tokyo, I've been told. And she did it all day. That's a goal that just came out of him. Look at the replay here. Beautiful pick up. I mean, that's class. That's A-grade level. The pick up and the grubber kick. And boy, oh boy, so maybe they're fired up. That hit on Tom Washer, which then led to some scuffles by the boundary, has woken the Wolves from their hibernation, and they've got the first goal on the board. Well, they are 1 straight 6. 5-4-34 Sportal scoreboard.
At the very least, they got their first goal in style. That's what matters most.
Quality, if not quantity.
Normally, it's quantity over
Quantity is
quality
more
in
important in a
the
grand
scheme
final.
of the scoreboards, probably in a grand final, but everybody lives for those highlights, and that'll certainly go down as one of the more notable from this game so far. St. Peter's take it to the outside. They want an instant response. Proudman's kick goes a little wayward. It's shaky, spills over the boundary line.
Yep. So what are we now? 14 minutes in. 28 points. I think if they keep it under 30 is what they got to do. Which means they've still got to get the next one. And, ooh, beautiful footwork, Socceroo style. And in the end, a big pack descends on the 50-metre arc. Still a strong breeze here, folks. That windsock blowing perpendicular towards the townhouses on the wing. So it'll be something for both Port Districts and Prince Alfred to contend with as there's a turnover. Kick smothered. I think Nations try to get it clear. They finally have it through some space now. This will be Horner. His kick left a little bit to be desired. It's been reasonably easy for Spock to clear up today. That was Gus Hazeman, who not only picked it up, also pinpointed Michaels, who's probably one of the best. Number 9 is James Higgins, thank you. Not 6, 9. You were right. He said the 6 had got turned around to 9, or maybe I got it turned around. Who knows?
And they got it upside down.
I got it upside down, maybe. So you can see some work there on the bench for Old Iggy's. The tape is out. Now let's see if they can put something together here with this use of the ball.
Ooh.
They tried hard. It's not the most beautiful football, but it is an Old Ignatians free.
Bit of a harsh call there on Sam Potter, and that's an even rougher kick.
Yeah, some might say that was a bit of justice. Isaac Ryan kick. No dice there.
Tom Facey. It's just chipped off to the side. Sam Langley with ball in hand, working from the left back pocket. Massive journey to go from here to get to the goals. And all of a sudden, Old Iggy's are starting to win some of the territory back.
Yep.
They enter again here, but it's a very undercooked kick, to say the least. Spoiled back from the second attempt at hitting a pack, but then another mid-air kick. And another one that's gone wayward. Old Iggy saving it up on the far wing. Looked as though the man stepped off the mark there. Wanted to go to the corridor. Instead he'll go with another long bomb down the line. Here's the ruck coming into play, and taking a very important mark there is Big Tim Big.
Tim Big, you wouldn't read about it, would you? Kicked 6 goals. He's played 15 games in the Bs, 3 in the Cs this year. Just outside 50. To the top of the square, off hands, and will go out of bounds. Will be a throw in. Right in front of the video screen. They've got him permanently at the parade. Certainly a popular ground. Dates back, would you believe, to 1901. Not too many sporting facilities on the planet go that far back. They've seen a range of sports during its time. Of course, home of the Redlegs. And if you think... I'm glad we're getting the games done today, Indy, because I reckon tomorrow night will be the after party for the Sandford Grand Final when Norwood play North. Not sure what state the ground will be in after that.
It'd be very interesting. Coming out with the kick in. Going past everyone, but then landing with Tom Washer. He rushes another entry. Some clever handwork there. Might keep them alive in this instance. Here's Peter going forward again. Hits the hot spot, but no one comes out with the mark. St. Peter's trying to get it out of trouble here. They find a lone man on the far wing. This could work to advantage. Russell goes further with Nick Michaels, who's played a good game so far. He goes over the top, hits Ben McGill. He goes further. They've made beautiful space. They just spread the ground out beautifully. Scott Biddle now with a set shot. Low percentage, so he might not feel 100% confident. In fact, he tried to go one further, but ended up getting spoiled over the line by Old Iggy's. Probably not the best result to come out of that, because the passage of play leading up to it was really good.
Yep, in front of some fans, which they'll enjoy. Of course, a lot of play on the outer side, which is not covered.
In the meantime, next stoppage stops. St. Peter's.
Yes.
Desperate to get it off turf and take a ping at it. They do. Very quick clean-up and very kick goal. Just trying to get a look at exactly who kicked that one. I believe it might have been Jake Stafford, but we're going to take another look on the replay. It was a very quick pickup, and it seemed like there was a lot of fumbling. No, it wasn't Stafford. It was actually Nick Michaels, the man who we were talking about only a few moments ago. He has been one of the best players on ground so far in this grand final, you'd have to say.
Yep. He's 2-2 now. 49 goals for the season. Nice little steady is probably a little bit unfair. But Higgins were starting to win their share of battles. But as you can see, Spock, the way they worked it down the ground was really well done. Their transition was excellent. And then they held it into eventually their weight of numbers. They got the shot. And Michael's stat was true. So they have absolutely dominated. I think that was Higgins with the clearance. I think he's just struggling to pick it up and get some free time. So Peters are on their case at the moment, albeit crudely. And that's William McCarthy who's earned a free. Quick movement, there's a free player on the outer side. He'll zig back in, head for the 50-metre arc. Kick missed the target. And again, at this big, Yep. This time does what Ruckman usually do. And passes it to Ryan. They move it around the edge of the centre square. Into 50, and I'm struggling to find a blue, red and gold jumper with that kick. Opportunity wasted there. And unfortunately, there's only going to be 50 seconds left. So let's see if Saints can hold him out. Ricky's get one more shot with it. Throw is the call. Look to be against Hodges.
So kill off the rest of the clock here would probably be the plan for Kirchner. He keeps it to the near wing. It bounces awkwardly, but there's a whistle. It'll stay in their possession, and this would be really damaging if they kick another goal.
Michaels was off saying, pay advantage.
Russell. On the left, 10 seconds to go. Probably last roll of the dice for the half. The Crummers are there. A snap around the body, not so great from Patrick Fahy. And that will do us the end of the first half. 7 points to 40. 1 goals 1 to 6 goals 4. St. Peter's made a super strong statement in that first half and were as good as they could have been to be on their way to a Div 1 Reserves Grand Final. We're going to
We're going to go and do an interview that we have recorded with Nathan Grimer.
Bill, back to you and the commentary team up there, and thanks very much for Craig and Josh Chapman's excellent work.
Yes, we do. We do thank Craig Pitt and Josh Ramsey for taking time out of half-time. Now the nerves will start. The Port Districts players in front of us are just waiting for access to the change rooms. The countdown begins in earnest for them, the Bunnybet Division 1 Grand Final. Joining me, Phil Herndon now in the booth. We thank Eddie Rogers for his work doing the first half this morning. But, man, he's all fired up and ready to go. Grand Final day. He's been in plenty of them and won a fair few of them. Sean Jacko Jackson. Welcome, Jacko. How are you?
I'm good. I think I'm a bit better than you are, Phil. You sound horrible. You okay?
I'm not 100%, but you got to get up for grand final day, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
until the doc says you can't play, you got to be here.
Well, I tell you what, you've made me feel so much better because I've been struggling a little bit with a sore throat and tickly tonsils the last couple of days, but I come here and see you and gee whiz, I feel like I've got nothing to complain about. But anyway, let's move on. Cracking promises to be a great game. Nothing separating the sides all year. As I left home, it was bucketing down in the western suburbs. So rolled up here, no rain since I've been here. The ground doesn't look too bad. I mean, there's not a lot of grass on it, but there's not a lot of mud
better
either.
Than I thought it would be. I thought there'd be some really deep, boggy patches. There's the odd bit of mud here or there, but nothing. It's just a well-worn footy ground.
Yeah, well, it's definitely worn. There's the patches between the grass are getting bigger and bigger.
Even Wimbledon on the final day of the tournament doesn't look that crash on.
That's true. Is it music? We're going to put up with this music all day? What's the go there?
Oh, mate, it's a big game. You get the PA music. I'm sure they'll stop it shortly. So we're in the second half. They haven't seen much of the first half, Jacko, so we'll fill you in as we go along. We're going to do this really interesting mix of giving you due respectful coverage of the B grade, the Buddy Bet Division 1 reserves, and leading towards a discussion about the league coming up in 1.25 hours. So we've got a bit of time to chew the fat, Jacko, but it is pretty much, in a nutshell, been one-way traffic. St. Peter's. Old Iggy scored just the one goal, and it has been all St. Peter's as they'll get the clearance.
Yeah, I bumped into Michael Pym, who's a father of a couple of the St. Peter's boys as I walked in the ground. He told me they were 6 goals up at half-time. Well, it's 5, so he exaggerated a little bit.
5.5.
But haven't beaten Iggy's all year, he said. Iggy's has been the side. And then he said to me the C grade was the same. The side that was expected to win, which was Goodwood Saints, didn't win. So who won the C grade?
It was Prince Alfred who won the C grade reasonably easily. Goodwood Saints only scored the 2 goals. They were both in the final quarter, but it was 1-0 at half time or so, I've been told. So I'm probably glad I wasn't calling that one. That was, of course, Ned and Indy covering that. There's a hard tackle. Umpire said play on. Thankfully, in that case, the player tackle got out, and here's a good mark. Charlie Kirchner's taken it. Well, I think St. Peter's did very well kicking this way. Whilst we're just lining up, Jacko, what's your thought about wind today?
Wind?
Yeah.
Well, there is a sock here.
There's lots of it.
There is a sock here, and it looks like it is going maybe slightly to the southern end, so a northerly. But we've still got another hour or so before the main game kicks off.
Over. Was it clearing showers today, I think, and building showers tomorrow?
Right, okay. Not sure how you define that, but Charlie Kirshner will give us an opportunity to have a look. Off the boot, that is just pulled to the left-hand side. And
They need feet to do that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's just the one scoreboard working here today. On game day, I believe the SNFL, though, still use both scoreboards, which I'm not sure.
Just in case the electronic one breaks down.
That's right. So we're not going to call this game ball by ball, Phil, are we?
Well, mate, we'll have a chat. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll try and call the goals, but at the moment it's so one-sided with St. Peter's. Again, they're doing all of the attacking, and another clunk taken inside 50.
Yeah, not sure who the conditions favour today in the senior game. Phil, I actually had someone ask me that yesterday, and I said, well, if it was Goodwood Saints playing, I would say that these conditions probably favour Goodwood Saints, but between Port Districts and Princes, I don't see the conditions, whatever they got dished out, being favoured to any one particular side. So that's the beauty of it. Both games this year have been relatively close. Of course, almost the best game of the year was the last time we called these two sides playing, where Jack Gaffney kicked a goal in the last 20 seconds to pinch the game back in their favour. So,
well, Port had led most of the day. Princes thought they'd pinched it about 2.5 minutes out.
Yeah.
And then Jack Gaffney pinched it about 30 seconds out. So you're right, of all the games, look, was it the prettiest game? No. Was it the highest scoring game? No. And I'm not expecting, I reckon the first team to score 9 goals is going to win the battle today. The top 2 defences on a narrow ground. And look, it's not boggy conditions. Slippery, maybe.
Yeah, someone also asked me about the big margin to Princes in the end last week, and I think the thing you have to bear in mind is that once the game is won in a final, that's quite often why you'll see scores blow out, because it's very hard to stay motivated when you know the game is lost. Just that extra effort, and I think that's what happened in the end. But we had a cracking game for a quarter and a half, perhaps, last week.
It was 10 points going into the start of the final quarter.
Right.
And then Princes kicked 2 goals in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And you knew right that even though, 22 points is gettable, it wasn't going to be gettable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, looking forward to this one, Phil, I must say. I'm going to go with the Wharfies. Yourself?
Oh, I'm with you. I'm Port District, a part of the Woodville West Torrens Eagles family now. So
Yes.
a club that I worked for, and I spent some time working with some people at Port District, and struck me as a exceptionally professional club when it came to their juniors.
Yeah.
And they're starting to see quite a few of those that have come through either the Magpies or the Eagles systems, and now returning, which is great to see. Quite a few of the Gaffneys and the Greys.
Well, if you look through the Port District side, you'll see that there is a strong Woodville West Torrens connection. Dale Pearce certainly played his juniors, under 18s, and some reserves footy there. Jack Gaffney probably played the most, I think, maybe 60 or 80 games of SANFL footy, league footy I'm talking about. Tom Gray played some league footy at Woodville West Torrens. Trent Heffernan obviously spent some time at Port Magpies. Who else have we got there? Zach Hawkins spent some time at Port Magpies. Yep. Mitch Gaffney was also at Woodville West Torrens. Tommy Corcoran was at Port Adelaide.
Yes, and he was as early as much as this season.
Yeah.
Playing for as a contracted top-up player.
Cooper Gaffney obviously played at Woodville West Torrens. Tom Smush, you mentioned. Sean Davidson was at Port. Sam McKay spent some time in the Eagles under 18s as well. So yeah, you're right. There's quite a strong Woodville West Torrens connection there now.
And I think there was about 4 Eagles won the under-16 Sandford Grand Final last night, and there was about 4 Port District players in that. So good to see that trends continuing. Historically, Port Districts were as Semaphore Central were the actual reserve side for Port Adelaide Footy Club.
Yeah.
Back in the early 1900s, till the league said no, you don't adopt a club, you got to actually have your own, and then Semaphore Central's joined this competition. So they've always had a really big part to play in that Sandford League Cup, be it Port or at the Eagles. Princes, of course, it's a different setup when you're the college. A lot of those kids, I guess they go to college, some of them on a footy scholarship, hope they're going to lead to bright pickings in the AFL, and if that doesn't work out, then you still maybe get to play with your mates at the Adelaide Footy League.
Well, I'll share a funny story with you, Phil. Greg Anderson obviously played at Port Magpies, Crows and Essendon. His father, Wally, used to live across the road from me.
Okay.
And he told me a story one day. Wally coached Rosewater back in the day when they were an A1 side, and I think also played at semi-centrals. And he told me a story that he was in the reserves at Port Magpies and hadn't played a lot of footy, but they were in the grand final.
Okay.
And he was expecting someone to pick him up. I can't remember whether it was the coach or someone else, and he waited out on the road for the ride. It never turned up.
Oh dear.
So he waited and waited, and in the end he had to catch a bus, and he got there at half-time of the game. Never actually got on the ground at all.
Okay.
So he missed out on his chance to play in the grand final with the Port Magpies.
Going forward here was Kudra. It's in the goal square for St. Peter's. They're a goal or two away from sealing the deal. The snap on this occasion is awry. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. The margin out to 36 points in the reserves. That sounds like some of my nightmares. I don't know if you have it, but I'll be commentating for a lot. I always have the nightmare of turning up to a game totally and utterly unprepared.
Right. I can't imagine that ever happening, Phil. Saints go forward again. This ball's been marked by Nick Michaels.
He's on 49 goals for the season, their leading goal scorers. Kicked 2 goals, 3 today.
Right.
And this might, he's giving it off.
Unselfish.
There we go.
And very unusual in this day and age, because that kick there would be kicked by most young kids today with a snap or a check side or a banana or whatever you want to call. We saw Tyson Stengel last night in the same colours kick a couple of cracking goals around his body.
Spent more time practising that than the 35-metre shot straight in front. Patrick Fahey has it about 30 metres, 45-degree angle. He's missed it, and the margin stretches out to 37. Yeah, so grand finals do funny things. I noticed that, for example, Port Districts, they had their team sheet that you showed me, and they changed the turn-up time to about half an hour earlier than normal. And I actually understand why. How did you go for a car park today?
Parked illegally, Phil.
Okay.
But figured that our boss has more money than he knows what to do with, and if I get a ticket, I'll pass it on to him.
Yeah, I'm about that much illegally, so maybe a foot. There's a bit of a party down St. Peter's. That supporters group behind the goal is growing every time I look at it. Just waiting for the final dagger, really, and I think this might be it. Jake Stafford, who's kicked 20 goals, including 4 against Teachwood Gully this year. Comes in. And that's 3 misses in a row.
I think we'll see a little bit of that today, Phil, because it's a little bit slippery underfoot in a few of those areas just 30, 40 metres out, and he looks a bit disappointed with himself there. At this stage, I think the ground will hold up okay. I don't think there's too many problems with that, but I think we will see a little bit of guys losing their feet at times today. So footwear, or bootwear in particular, really important today. And I think the umpire there, I thought he wanted to give 25 metres and then perhaps overruled, but doesn't matter because Anthony Cure won the free kick. I
mean, today, this ground to me probably suits both 2 very disciplined sides. I had questions on Port District until we saw them 2 weeks ago, and they answered all my questions. If they could put in a similar effort, they'll walk away with that premiership. There's Holding. He's trying to go forward but run out of bounds.
Good to see the Italian stallion back with us today. The producer Alejandro Pientandose.
Yep.
Barking orders at me already. I got a coronavirus on one side. Yep. I got the Italian stallion on the other.
Corona 21.
I believe we may be catching up with the CEO of the league at half time of the A grade today for a quick chat.
Would need to be a quick chat.
Function room being used, the Wolf Blast room, perfect venue for watching footy, and that's where the official function is being held today. So there'll be a few freeloaders in there rolling out at about 5 o'clock, Phil.
So why aren't we broadcasting from there today?
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, they've been ill-disciplined a couple of times, Old Ignatians. They've given St. Peter's forwards some easier shots on goal than others would get. But that was well done to step into the gap. And I tell you what, working out the numbers, Jacko, is no easier for their B side than it's been for their A's through this season.
Working out the numbers?
Working out the numbers.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's just flashes before your eyes and nothing.
Old Ignatians, Guernsey designer needs to be taken to task because
just a flat panel at the back, please.
Yeah, very, very difficult to read.
We won't call any players. That's pretty simple.
Yeah, it makes our job easier because we only have to call one side. I see Craig Lambert, our boundary rider, there on the sidelines with some hot chips. He wouldn't have paid for them, no doubt. He would have.
There it is.
That's the nail, Phil. You're calling it.
That's it. Scott Biddle, who kicked the first goal, has got his second. Saints have got, I think that's their 7th, and that should be all she wrote. It'll be a fair trip back to Athelston from here. Yep, all good. So what's been your highlight for the year, Jacko? Besides taking we sent you on some great assignments.
Fiji and Bali. They were my highlights.
What does Tony get? He gets out back somewhere in Whyalla. So
let's hope he doesn't come back, Phil.
You and Tony. What do you got planned for your grand final show next week? Have you thought about it much?
Well, we've got the mark and the goal of the year to announce.
Yep.
There's a little whisper that they want us to do the show from the Rosemont. Is that what it's called, on Hindley Street?
Oh, okay.
Obviously one of Luke Donaldson's pubs. I'm not sure who's coming in at this stage, but as an Old Ignatians player, holding his hand, making his way to the pine, I think he'd be okay in the end, but he looked distressed initially. Good game last night, Phil. Geelong. It's good to see the side that's been dominant for most of the year win and not fail at finals time. And boy, how good was Patrick Dangerfield early in the game? Yeah,
I mean, those preliminary finals really define a season, don't they? You know, if Geelong did everything right, finished top, beat Collingwood. You know, if they'd have fallen just one loss, and it would have been a failure of the season.
Yeah.
Who have you got tonight?
Geez, a tough one to pick. I really love what Craig McRae's done at Collingwood. In fact, it's to the point where...
What's making you a Collingwood fan, is he?
Almost. Collingwood, I've not been one of those people that hates Collingwood, but it's almost been like that. Certainly in Victoria, you either barrack for Collingwood or you hate them, a bit like Port Magpies here. But they say Craig McRae's nice attitude has turned a lot of haters their way. But in saying that, John Longmire has proven over the journey to be a fantastic coach, and it is in Sydney, so I'm going for Sydney. Yourself?
I think I'm a Swans man. I can remember 1991 Crows cheer squad inaugural year going to a game at Victoria Park.
Were you in the Crows inaugural cheer squad?
Yes. I was the leader of the Woodville cheer squad when Woodville had its final years, and I was on the committee of the Crows cheer squad. And we used to go to fascinating football grounds, very similar to this in some ways. Moorabbin, Windy Hill, Western Oval now, and Victoria Park was the creme de la creme because we got surrounded. Team lost by 21 goals, and the Collingwood fans got angry at us, so we did a police escort out of the ground. Like, heaven help if we'd have got within 10 goals, let alone one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were heady days in the football world back in the early 90s, as you would well know.
Yeah, I sort of missed the suburban feel a little bit. It's particularly in Adelaide where, you know, any AFL game, 95% of the crowd are supporting the local team, so you don't get the normal interaction from two different supporter groups.
A rare inside 50 from, I think that was Britton Jones. St. Peter's repelled pretty quickly as they've been doing all day. 16.5 gone. Buddy Bet Division 1 Reserves Grand Final at those St. Peter's Old Collegians, leading by 44 points.
Only one goal scored for the quarter at this stage, and that is to St. Peter's, so it's very difficult to see Old Ignatians. And you asked me about the win before. It feels like here, where we are, the top of the grandstand, it has picked up a little bit. The windsock still suggests it is going almost straight across the ground, which won't bode well for Old Nations to be able to make a challenge in the last quarter, I think, there. Well, at 7 goals, plenty of time left. You'd still give yourselves a chance, but very, very slim chance, Phil.
22-minute flat quarters. And a three-quarter time will take you through the history of the clubs and how they, for Port District in Prince Alfred, how they got to Division 1.
Should talk about the Division 3 Reserves Grand Final last week.
Was that?
It was tied at full time.
Yes.
And then 5 minutes each way, still tied.
Yep.
5 minutes each way, still tied. And that was an absolute ripping goal and plays up to the crowd. Young Bray Russell. He couldn't have picked a better spot to kick what clearly would be the goal of the day, I would imagine.
Yep. Right
in front of his hometown school buddies.
Yeah, sport a replay coming up. We'll show the lead up here. Russell leading his opponent to the ball. Nice pick up right by the boundary.
I wonder if he's a left footer. Because if he's not, that's even better, that kick.
We'll have to see the next time he gets it. Yep, I think that was I called it a goal earlier, but I think
you're seeing it now.
Everybody got around it. Yes, we got the ground in the sunshine for a sec.
Yeah, we have, and it's interesting that the camera picking up a little bit on the far side. We can see a Port Districts in the middle of the arena group starting
the
to
outer
swell.
wing crew.
The outer, and if you push further south from there, we can see what looks like Old Ignatians, I'd suggest.
They've been there since the start of the game.
Right, okay, and we've got the St. Peter's behind the goal, so the obvious question is, where are the Prince Alfred Old Collegian supporters?
Where was the corporate function?
In the you reckon they're all in there? Yes, you may be right.
Well, actually, some of them would have come down early for the C1s, and if you just joined us, I think it was 36-19 or something thereabouts that Prince Alfred won the C1. So perfect. Go and watch the Cs. Go to the parade, have a nice lunch.
Yep.
Come back for the big one.
Well, that may be the case. I said we've got some opposition out the far side. Port District's cameraman with a camera rather than a video camera. Looks on a decent sized lens. Quite often see that fella at the Port District's games. I had a note.
Yep, he's in shorts. He's a brave man.
Had a text message today actually from an old stalwart of the Port District's footy club. If he's listening, probably not because he's on his way here. Nick Hales, I mentioned in the between the post show during the week when we interviewed Craig, the president, that one man who would be ruining having left Port Districts this year to go and ply his trade in the Brossa is Nick Hales. Yeah. Been a terrific player for a long time. Well, it's funny who listens to the show because I got a text message from him this morning saying, Jacko, it's Goose here, spot on call, left too early. See you at the game. So, it's hard sometimes to try and work out when to go and when to stay, and he'd be regretting that decision now.
Well, you've got to do a Tommy Bartlett, don't you, and just hang around in the season.
Well, he didn't play Seagrave.
He didn't play? Okay.
I got called up on that by Pitty during the week. He said, no, we were at the winery and Mitch Wines. I should stop mentioning them because
they don't give us anything.
I've called them often enough and we still haven't received anything. But anyway, they were at a winery. Can't remember which one.
Okay.
A few sherbs in and they got into Tommy's ear and more particularly his wife's ear. And I think the plan was that he would play 4 games, but he played 6, I think, before the final. So that's how. But straight back into the A grade.
Yeah. Well, we saw one of his first games back against Goodwood. He looked right at home. He even got Arbini for his creative work around the goals. And going to need that today. Goals are not going to be easy to come by.
No, and that's what he does bring to the team, Tommy Bartlett. He brings a little bit of X factor. He can do things that others can't do. Keeps his feet extremely well as a one-take player. And his role will be really important if they're to win today's game.
He's pretty good at getting separation too. A spot going forward. Had the lead. Just no mark. In the forward 50 pocket. This is the man, Michaels.
So he kicked the left foot goal a minute ago, yeah?
No, that was a Russell.
Okay, yep.
This is Higgins, I think. If he turns around, he's got a 9 on his back. He has.
Good call, Phil.
And he'll put this.
The James Higgins? I have him down as a 6.
Yeah, no, that's why we had to check and find out.
Right, okay.
And right on 3/4 time, they didn't need it. But another dagger in the heart of Old Ignatians fans. It is 3/4 time here. Division 1 reserves Buddy Bet. We thank them for their sponsorship of the Adelaide Footy League. Whilst we got a break, thanks mate, as Port District in the black and white as expected, and Prince Alfred Old Collegians in the almost English rugby-esque all whites attire. Ahead, let's have a look at how these teams. It really has been a tale of two halves. 3 and 6 they were in the first half, 7 and 2 in the second, and they've been unbeatable in their 3 finals games thus far. That's the wrap.
Crowd building nicely here too, Phil, I must say. We are now at, it's 1:45, so we're still half an hour off game start, and grandstand starting to fill. Far side of the ground certainly got its pockets of supporters as well, and the Coopers Hill Bar, well, that'll always have a good support and good following. So last quarter about to start. St Peter's 9-9, Old Ignatians with a lot of work in front of them at 1-2.
Yeah. And if they are going to get back in this game, they're going to need a goal within at least the first 5 minutes, probably a couple.
One of our cameramen, James, caught up with the coach of Glenunga yesterday, Nathan Grimer.
Yeah, we had that interview that played.
We've done that, have we?
Yes, we have.
Right, okay. I believe it was a 25-minute chat, and you gave 3 minutes to air. He can talk, Nathan, can't he? He'll be a good commentator when he gives up coaching.
Well, yeah, maybe it could be a 3-man team next year. You never know.
Oh, is he not coaching next year? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Some people after they find their way into the media, find it a lot less stressful than coaching. Oh, Iggy's a chance maybe to get that first goal on the board. Not sure about that kick into the pocket though. Yeah. But it does keep the ball in the vicinity.
Liam Elliott Mitchell was searching for Isaac Ryan there, but just put the ball a little bit too far out in front for him to be able to gather the ball, and almost a wasted opportunity, but the ball is still locked inside their front half of the ground.
55 points is a long way home. Basically, you're looking at 9-10 goals.
drove past the Prince Alfred ground on the way here today, and
yes.
the new clubhouse is certainly taking shape.
The Park 9.
Park 9, it'll be up and ready, they say, for next season, and certainly looks like it will be. So that'll give them a massive point of difference on what they've had.
Yeah.
You know, the change rooms, shower facilities for opposition clubs have been below par there for a while now. So nice that they'll have a facility which will be a little bit like the old Ignatians. It won't be big enough to house functions, but certainly after the game for a quick drink with the opposition, I think it'll allow that. So
Well, it'll be interesting because what have we've lost? We've lost Ross Trevor, which facility-wise is a shame because the chateau at Campbelltown is magnificent.
Yes.
And Payneham Norwood Union, the balcony was always
Good value.
respectable.
Yeah. I did mention that during the week when in the chat with Craig from Port Districts, that it's nice actually to see a different side. We've spoken enough about Port Districts, where their journey and where they've come from, but to see Ross Trevor and Payneham go down, you know, it suggests to me that the competition's in good hands where we've got an influx of new clubs. Glenunga coming in and playing finals, Port Districts playing finals. Over the last, 5 or 6 years, we've had pretty much the same half a dozen sides.
It's been Goodwood,
in the 5.
Payneham, Rocks and Princes pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, with one other.
And the 5th has been up for
St.
grabs.
Peter's or...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, certainly Glenunga. I think if you're looking at, obviously the success story is whoever wins the premiership. That even if Port Districts fall short today, their rise has been quite phenomenal. The other one to mind is Glenunga. They'd be disappointed they didn't get a final, but they pushed Princes to within 4 points in the first semi. But any time you get up to Div 1 and you play finals in your first year, that's to me a pretty notable achievement.
They won their first final, did they? No, they lost both finals. Yes, that's right.
But they won. They had a sort of a game against Princes in round 18 to get top 3, and so it was a sort of a final in a way, just not officially.
Yeah, tough year. I mentioned on the show that poor old Benny Watkins coaching Ross Trevor last year coached Adelaide University. Both those clubs relegated Division 2 with 7 wins. Now, traditionally, 6 wins, you avoid relegation. So, gives you an indication of the closeness of the competition this year in Division 1, or last 2 years in Division 1.
Ben McGill's done himself an injury, unfortunately.
Oh, not his drinking arm, is it?
Don't be like that.
Well, you want to make sure your drinking arm.
That's the most important thing you need for...
Ben McGill, I didn't even have him on my sheet. I do indeed. Normally an A-grade player.
37, yeah.
Ben McGill, yeah.
Well, a mixture this year, 8 in the Bs, 9 in the As.
Yeah, so in the past, he's certainly been predominantly A-grade. So you want to make sure that right arm, Ben, I wouldn't worry about coming back on, mate. Ice it up and then get ready to grab your first can of West End.
Of which there will be plenty being consumed over the next 24 hours. Win, lose, well, you can't draw on today.
Well, there's something else that we'll get to see today too, Phil. Mums and dads and girlfriends and boyfriends and all that allowed back in the change rooms after the game. No COVID restrictions. A bit of a weird sensation last year when Lambo went into the rooms and it was just the players pretty much and a handful of officials.
And they couldn't really do much of the raucous celebrations that we have often witnessed before, but Lambo's got a leave pass. Whoever wins, they're going to let him into the rooms with a camera. I'm not sure it'll be part of our coverage today, but certainly will be part of your show. Between the posts, I'm sure you'll have that all nicely bundled up.
Couple of latest bits of information too for our viewers who follow Division 1 closely. Interesting appointment. Justin Machota left the club, Tea Tree Gully, at the end of 2021 to pursue a coaching opportunity at Central Districts in the under-18s. Well, excuse me, that's fallen short, or he's finished up there and he's gone back to Tea Tree Gully and signed a 3-year deal.
3 years.
So Alex McKay stated that he would like to go back and coach when he finished playing. So that suggests, Macca, if you're coaching Tea Tree Gully, you're going to have to play for another 3 years at least. Because Justin's got the job.
The problem with some of that is, where do you do your apprenticeship? And it's very hard to do an apprenticeship as a player, I would have thought.
Yep.
But there's nothing to say that, they have a year where it's in transition, as you can see the new Wolf Blast Community Centre there in the background. This game's got about 16 minutes left to run. it has been St. Peter's from go to woe. All Old Ignatians could do now is make that scoreboard look a tad more respectable.
St. Peter's, of course, looking for a new A-grade coach, Phil, on the back of Jeff Riddle leaving after 4 years. I would suggest to you that St. Peter's are the biggest disappointment in our competition this year with the list they had. Thought they should have finished a lot higher.
We've got a yellow card. There's a bit of a fracas behind the scenes.
Peter D'Antoscia, is it? He's sent off the ground for 10 minutes.
It's a bit of a problem because he's the sole goal scorer at the moment.
So I believe Richie Douglas, ex-Adelaide Crows and Norwood player, caught up with the St. Peter's officials for a coffee yesterday. I'm not sure he really sold on coaching footy, Dougie, but we'll see what happens there.
Well, do you want to appoint a coach who's not sold on it?
Well, no, you don't. And that's what he needs to make his decision based on. Go in for a chat and see if they've see if there's any common ground there.
Because
so Division 1, we have a couple of coaching positions available. St. Peter's and, well, it was Teacher Gully. Obviously, that's now been filled. They're the only two I can think of. Division 2.
You've got me there at the moment.
Too much coming out. That's a nice barrel coming out of the back lines, though.
Well, Adelaide, despite the fact that they're not in Div 2 next year, they're down in Div 3, said that Scott Thompson's got a gig again for next year, so they'll be hoping for a bit of stabilisation in recent times.
Well, they went down from Division 1 to Division 2 to Division 3, didn't they, in consecutive years? So it doesn't happen a lot from 1 to 3 like that. So they'd be disappointed with the last 24 months, I would think, only Jets. And they got a bit of work to do. They haven't got a very strong junior program. So recruitment will be pretty important. Of course, Henley looking for a new coach too. Vinny Regolo has finished up there. Believe they've been chasing the services of a playing coach.
Quite surprising that Henley have not been able to really challenge for a promotion spot. They get into the finals, but they don't really get beyond the first week.
No, they would be disappointed. There's a club that spent a fair bit of time in Division 1 and we're a good Division 1 club. I think the main reason for that is that they were the trendsetters in terms of junior coaching there for a while, and they reaped the benefits of players in the SNFL system when they finished coming back to Henley. That no longer is the case. And
James Higgins' kick is a right. 9 goals, 10-64. Old Ignatians 139. As this game ebbs towards a pretty inevitable conclusion.
Yeah, not a lot of excitement in the potential result here. We're certainly not sitting on the edge of our seat, that is for sure.
No.
Wouldn't be worried about it if you were a St. Peter's supporter, that is for sure.
Just trying to think, where is their hotel, St. Peter's? Is it the... Because they don't have the Hackney at the moment, because that's a redevelopment site.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they go. The Maid, is it?
The Maid, that's right,
Maid.
thank you.
Yep.
Just want to make sure I get the right one.
Yeah, they're top. When we sat down and work out the team of the year, St. Peter's had, well, you could almost put the spine in on talent. The play, obviously, full forward won that position, but they certainly could have filled quite a few positions on talent. But talent alone doesn't get the job done, as you would appreciate, Phil.
Not always. I mean, you talk about disappointments. Obviously, Payneham Norwood Union going from grand finalists to Division 2 in the space of a season. Never really got it going. By the time they got their first win, they were pretty much out of contention. They really built up some strong recruiting the previous year and then changed it all over when Jace Bode left, and a lot of players with them.
A little bit of light rain coming down now, I think, too.
Yeah.
Certainly windy.
Well, this is like the Seas, where the game was played without rain, but the presentations was in a real downpour.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And we will give you those presentations, by the way, in full when they happen, because we know that a lot of you watching from Old Ignatians, and especially from St. Peter's, that's what you're here for. So,
and who do we have singing the national anthem? I came across a really entertaining clip from, I think, might have been Tasmania, the game.
Oh,
where,
Peter G.
Yeah, where was that?
Yeah,
Was it country footy somewhere?
No, that was North Hobart. That was
North Hobart.
I think that was the Oval. I think it was the Southern Footy League. I'll stand corrected if it wasn't.
Right, so what happened there was the gentleman who was calling the game announced that that the national anthem would be broadcast, and both sides were lined up, and
tape didn't work.
They couldn't get the tape to work, so he sang it live. Australians, oh let us.
That's your dream, isn't it, Jacko?
I am hoping the lady doesn't roll up today. Or the man.
Because if that happened, I know exactly who I'm hand passing it to.
They changed a couple of the words, though.
Just one.
It's no longer Gert.
It is.
Is it Gert still in there? Is it?
It's still there.
Okay.
We've gone from being young to one.
Right. That's the only word that's changed?
That's the only one.
Oh, well, perhaps you better sing it since you know all the words.
Okay.
Wonder how many players.
I've got enough with my commentary voice today, let alone a singing voice.
And the Port Districts, have a look at that.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
That is and Liam, our cameraman, captures that. Port District swell is just growing and growing over the far side. And if that rain stops, they may well end up taking that whole eastern wing.
Well, of course,
their own.
Those that watch our broadcasts of the games of Port District at Largs Reserve, especially that Goodwood Saints second semi-final, they have a huge crowd that gathers, and they put up their own facilities and barbecue, and they make a whole thing out of it.
Yeah, one of the interesting stories there is Luke McInerney, who plays for Port Districts and been a very good player for quite a while. His dad, Sean McInerney, who himself played at Port Districts, sets up every Saturday morning very early at the home games at Port Districts on the northern end goals, directly behind the goals out on the road, and he
sells coffee or something.
I don't think he sells anything. I think he just drinks beer all day.
Oh, does he? Okay.
He is in a fantastic position directly behind the goals and gives a bit of advice too. So the conundrum for Sean is where to set up today. And as I look now behind the northern goals, I can see a little tent structure. Can you see that? See, we'll get Liam onto that.
Oh, yes, that's the one.
Liam, if you can get that little structure behind the goals.
He's right next to the facilities.
That may well be. I need to get closer in on the picture to find out whether that is Sean McInerney.
He can get to the right spot, which is handy.
Yeah, he's got to keep. Of course, he's got to keep his camera on the play.
Okay.
While we waffle on, perhaps.
Good to see McGill. Is that McGill back out there again?
I think a bit of interest I can give you, Phil. This suburban ground, the LED show on the far side is the only suburban ground in the SANFL that has it. Obviously, it's Adelaide Oval. The Norwood Football Club spent well over $1 million on getting that put up this year.
Far out.
And as of next week, the light towers are going to be taken down, and they're going to put an LED display on the light towers as well for next season. So groundbreaking really from an SANFL club to the...
What do you mean by an LED display on the light?
Well, a little bit like what, you've got an LED sponsors signs all around the ground.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So I'm not exactly sure how it works. All I know is that the light towers will light up.
Oh, right.
So can you imagine...
The locals will love that.
Night games will be particularly popular.
Yep. Well, it is funny how...
That one has just been touched on the line.
I can remember it was probably about 10, 12 years back that all the grounds started getting lights. Richmond, Glenelg, Themerton, and that was seen. Oh, let's have night footy because it works so well at Norwood. Well, turns out when they got the lights that the crowds really didn't... Oh, the Lunga was another one. Didn't really turn up because it was more the uniqueness of Norwood as a night venue on a Friday night and its locality that was the thing that brought the crowds.
Yeah.
And great to see that, that they're able to invest. If they could just invest in a multi-storey car park, well, they'll be happy.
Well, a lot of the Adelaide Footy League clubs and the country clubs also have lights that are good enough now to play night footy under. Yeah. And they also had that thought initially, Phil, and I think what they found out was it actually cost them money.
Well, it does, because power ain't cheap, and it ain't getting cheaper. As Kudra's shot just up through 9 goals 11, 65, 1-5-11. We're into the final 6 minutes of the contest.
I think they found the bar trade suffered also.
Well, yeah, playing the afternoon game, people stay for night.
Correct.
They buy a meal. At night time, they might buy one after the game, or they'll head home because it's bedtime. Yeah. A lot of clubs play some junior games on a Friday night.
Yeah, junior footy is very popular because mum and dads don't want to cook on a Friday night, and the clubs put a meal on.
Yep.
And they're played a bit earlier. They start at 5:30. So they can have a meal and have a couple of drinks.
Watch the AFL when the kids' game's done, maybe. Yeah. No, it's about knowing your audience. And I mean, that's the thing about what I love about calling the Adelaide Footy League is I know my social schedule. I tell my wife, start of April to the end of September, just block out every Saturday. Long weekends, yep, they're okay. We get those off, but just Saturday afternoon. Book me in for whatever you want on a Sunday, but Saturday afternoon is footy.
Yep. And the marriage is still going okay, Phil?
25 years on Tuesday, Jacko.
Congratulations.
Yeah, almost there.
Almost.
Oh, well, I've got the Adelaide Footy League today and the Sandford tomorrow, so it's a testing weekend, but I think we'll be all right.
Are you calling the SANFL tomorrow?
I'm helping out with some stuff behind the scenes.
Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah, hopefully the weather improves tomorrow. I'm not sure what the forecast is tomorrow.
Building showers, I think.
Oh. Saying that, looks like the rain's coming down now. I haven't seen a brolly. Yes, a couple of umbrellas amongst the old Iggy supporters over there, but one in the Port District's crowd. They're trying to soldier on, but if it comes down, it'll really test them.
Yeah, it's in the funnies tape at the moment. Just having a quick look at our weather radar. Yeah, look, there's scattered showers everywhere, Jacko. We're going to get wet 1 minute, sunburnt the next, I think.
We're not. We're in the grandstand.
We're in the grandstand, but the people here.
It'd be 150, 200 people wouldn't there in that group over there.
It does say less likely late this afternoon, whereas tomorrow, chance of showers developing from late morning and then easing late afternoon. So,
well, the grandstand is almost full here on the western side.
Yeah.
That's plenty of space still available in the grandstand on the southern end, which is known as the Sir Edwin Smith Pavilion. Beautiful grandstand, heritage listed, multicoloured chairs.
William Britton Jones, and a chance here to at least try and stop Old Ignatians being the butt of the one goal and mind jokes.
Oh, yeah. Who kicked the one goal for North Adelaide in the...
Craig Burton, wasn't it?
Yeah, correct.
Funny what sticks.
Yes. Craig Lambert, obviously our boundary rider today, Phil, just relaxing on the sidelines and getting himself ready for the big game.
He was up and about. He first cross he came on, I think quarter time. He was just so excited. It was raining, it was pouring, he was getting wet, but he was like a kid at a lolly shop. This is his day.
Oh, it's a big day. Is much rain out there, Craig? No, he said as the sun breaks through here, actually. And just see our umpires coming out for a warm-up today.
Yep. Matt Harris and... I'll get it wrong eventually. I'll bring him up.
Sun is actually belting through now. There's people starting to put sunscreen on.
Told you.
It's like a Melbourne day. 4 seasons in one.
Yeah, climate change. To bring in Melbourne weather to Adelaide. So they're going to get another crack here. It's the same bloke. And William Britton Jones. 2 minutes left in this contest. It's a flat 22-minute quarter. St. Peter's, this is their third reserves grand final in 4 seasons. They came up short the last 2. Persistency rewarded today.
Yeah, well, they've certainly wasted an opportunity this year as far as the A grade goes. Phil, I would have thought, and I keep harping on that point, but
there you go. The Old Ignatian fans that have travelled a fair way from Athelston and haven't had most to cheer about. William Britton Jones, a.k.a. BJ, getting a chance.
I thought it was Big Day. It was BJ, is it?
I think so.
Right. Okay.
Matt Harris and Stefan Selderblad are field umpires today in the big one. We'll mention them during the pre-game. Peter McMullen, Andrew Roberts, Tristan Rogers and Sam Scarman are running the boundary, so they've separated the boundary in 4, which is good. And the goal umpires, Stephen Martin, Chris May, will got a special graphic for him we might bring up if time allows. We're 24 minutes away, so at the moment this is a running to schedule. Unlike last year where they ran a bit behind. Offhands, chance for Saints? No, good tackle. Alec Kudra couldn't break free on that occasion.
What is interesting about watching this game, Phil, I know the game is shot, but there seems to be a lot of space for a ground that is notorious for being small. There seems to be a lot of space and time for the players in the B grade, and I can't imagine the A grade will be anything like this as a spectacle. No. I expect to see a lot of numbers around the ball, really strong defensive games from both clubs. As that one goes almost over the top, there's a chance here to get a second one in. And on the siren, disallowed, I think.
Too late.
Too late. Well, that ends the Division Reserves 2022 Grand Final. St Peter's Old Collegians finishing comfortable winners on 9-11 to Old Ignatians 2-6 margin, 47 points, nearly 8 goals. So congratulations to all involved with the St Peter's Old Collegians B grade side.
Yeah, congratulations to Nick Hardis, who's a mate of mine. We used to work together at the Eagles. He was the Sandfield Junior Development Officer there for a few years and did a stellar job in that role, got promoted to head office. And congratulations to him on what I think is his first premiership after a few near misses. You can see him there on your screen with the blue cap. And of course Jeff Riddle. Of course the A's and B's, they are sort of one big team that just separates on game day.
Well, you'd see the way Jeff Riddle's hanging around like a bad smell. You would think that would be the case.
Don't be like that.
No, a good day for the St Peter's Old Collegians B grade, no question about that.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like, the difference. I mean, AFL have one team. Although they're now working out, okay, where does our women's team fit and where does our reserves teams fit? Sandfield, it's still really the main premiership, and the other ones are nice, but at a community participant level, how much is a reserves premiership worth? Is it, hey, we got a cup, we've got some success, something to celebrate, all about that community coming together? Obviously not as big as the big one, but does it mean a bit more at community level?
Yeah, perhaps. What I'm really impressed with, Phil, is your B grade coach of St Peter's has come over and shook all the umpires' hands, and you have a look at the 4 umpires. There wouldn't be one of them that's shaving yet.
None of them could vote.
So that is a really good sign that our game, and includes the goal umpires, very, very young crew there, as the St Peter's supporters now charge in hard at the players and swarm around. Good numbers out on the ground on Old Ignatians. Well, when you're in the losing side, it is this couple of minutes. People talk about the most important part, or the bit you remember most, is just after winning a game in the change rooms. But don't forget the feeling here when you're part of the losing side. So commiserations to Old Ignatians.
Look, it was never an nail-biter. It looked exceptionally ominous at quarter time, but in some ways it could be a blessing that you have time to accept the inevitable. In some ways, are these losses easier to handle or get over, that you just were good enough on the day, as opposed to a nail-biter where you sit around the next few months thinking, what if I'd have made that taken that mark?
Yeah, there'll certainly be no, looking back at the footage, looking at trying to make 1 or 2 mistakes, the reason for your loss when it's as comprehensive as today's has been.
Should add that Old Ignatians did defeat St Peter's by 6 goals. I think 38 points in the second semi. So
well, it's a fair turnaround.
That is great work to the St Peter's crew to take that on board, rebound and beat Port District. That was reasonably tight.
Please keep your alcohol off the field in the stands. Thank you.
Jack, I hope you noted that. Alcohol?
No, it will be no alcohol for me today, Phil.
We'll have our presentations.
Yeah. Yes, you do need a little bit of management of this situation, or else the presentations will be in about half an hour, and we do have another game to play. So how many grand finals were you involved with, player and coach, over the days? Too many to count?
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure, Phil. Interesting enough, the Prince Alfred Old Collegians boys are out on the ground already, out the far side, so they're out nice and early, well in front of the Port Districts, and you can hear the booing.
I'm not sure they're getting booed by the Port District fans.
No,
or
I
the
think
St. Peter's
St.
fans.
Peter's clearly are the ones doing the booing there.
I'm not sure about. I mean,
You think it was the Port Districts crowd, do you?
you can't tell. Could be both. Could be
Lambo
St. Peter's
see
and
whether he got a
Port
hand.
Districts unified.
I think we'll find out from Lambo whether that was, 'cause it sounded to me like it was coming from, and we know, of course, there's no love lost between St. Peter's and Prince Alfred.
No.
Port District side, Jacko.
Was the Port District?
Port District's crowd, was it, that were doing the booing?
Oh, yes, mate. They were on fire early, and it could be the first A1 final that you actually see some cans thrown on the ground today, but you never know.
Let's hope that's not the case.
No.
I want a job for you today, Lambo, is to try and ascertain behind the the northern goals.
Yeah, do you want me to go get Macca now?
Is that Luke McInerney?
No, I would say it'd be Sean, his dad. Luke's playing.
Yeah, sorry, I beg your pardon.
Are you at the right game, Jack?
Yes, I am.
That's okay. We've all got grand final names, Lambo.
Yeah, all a bit toey, Lambo. Sorry.
Well, you make sure we pronounce everything right. We'll be all good.
Well, if you're going to pronounce, make sure you pronounce it correctly.
That's right. Do you want me to get Macca for you, Jack?
Oh dear.
No, I'm just curious just to find out whether that is him set up in the little marquee, and is that
We
Robbie
do have
Lynch?
a little bit of time to kill. Once the presentation start, though, Lambo, we will be going to them. You can see the prize up for grabs. And that looks like
Macca.
a keeper, that one.
That is Macca in there.
Is it? That was a good call, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate.
It's beautiful to see. I wonder what time he set up there this morning.
Well, apparently he got here last night.
Okay.
If Districts take it out and he's in the change with his mate, I'll have a quick chat with him.
Right.
Fantastic. Meanwhile, Port Districts are about to hit the field.
Sean Davidson, the skipper, leading them out onto the ground. You know it's a strong, powerful side when Luke McInerney starts on the interchange bench because, well, we've seen him over the last couple of years as being one of the premier defenders in our competition. So Tommy Corcoran, coming back from Port Magpies, has probably pushed Luke to start on the interchange, and you can hear the Port Districts crowd on the far side now cheering. So
we are 15 minutes away from the first bounce, but we are about to, as soon as they start, we will go down to the presentations down at field level.
Thank you all for coming here today to watch the Buddy Bet Division 1 Reserves Grand Final between Old Ignatians and St. Peter's College. It's been a wonderful game. Thank you all. It's hard work to get here today. A big shout out, thank you, and a round of applause please for our umpires. We don't have a game without them. We did a great job today. Thank you. Ask the umpires to present the medal for best on ground today to number 20 from St. Peter's, Ben Belperio. I'd now like to ask the coach from Old Ignatians, Timothy Rice, to come and say a few words.
Firstly to Spock and to Nick, well done today, fantastic effort, way too good for us. Basically taught us a lesson how to play finals footy today, so well done, congratulations. And just personally want to wish Jack well on his recovery, because terrible thing that happened to him the other day, so hope it all goes well over the summer for you. To the umpires, thank you for what you do week in, week out for us so we can play in this competition. Thank you. And to the league for allowing us to do what we do each week as well. Finally to my lads, first year in Div 1, hold your heads up high. We've had a great season. Couldn't get it done today, but we'll be back bigger and better next year. Thank you.
I now ask the now Premiership coach, Nick Harness from St. Peter's Old Collegians.
Yeah, first of all, just want to thank the league umpires. Fantastic. Thank you very much. You've done a good job all year. Congratulations on doing the grand final gig. Iggy's, we've had some battles all year. Fortunately, we're on the better side of it today. As you mentioned, Jack and his injury a couple of weeks ago, thank you for your support in that. Hold your heads high. I'm sure we'll have more battles again in the future. So, well done. Thanks for a good season. To our boys, the footy club, this has been a long journey. 2 years ago, we were in here on that side of the ledger. We've worked hard, we've deserved it, and now we've finally got it. So well done, and thanks for the support from the whole footy club to get here.
Okay, presenting the Premiership Medals. Number 2, Jake Stafford. Number 3, Scott Biddle. Number 6, James Higgins. Number 14, Sam Langley. Number 19, Patrick Fay. Number 20, Ben Belperio. Number 21, Sam Stott. On your Stotty. Number 24, Harry Cudmore. On the colours. Number 28, Will Proudman. Proudo, where are you? There he is. Number 30, Alex Kudra. Number 31, Charlie Kirshner. Number 32, Ed Loken. Number 35, Tommy Facey. Number 36, Gus Hazeman. Number 37, Ben McGill. Number 41, Charlie Gibson. Number 44, Nick Michaels. Number 47, Ned Elschwager. Number 49, Brett Russell. Number 54, Daniel Tonkin. Number 55, Samuel Potter. And number 57, Will Irwin. And our coach, Nick Safety Harness.
Your Buddy Bet Division 1 Premiers, St Peter's College.